Hi, everyone. Welcome to the main topic. Tonight we have Ryan McLean and Jack Culotta on. Is that correct, Jack? Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Just like the drink, Culotta.
Okay, Culotta. Awesome. Ryan and Jack are on tonight to talk about PRS, or Precision Rifle Series shooting. Just for everybody, Ryan is a friend of the show. He listens and he sends us match updates all the time. He is pro staff for Swarovski. And
Nope.
also, nope.
No, I'm a field tech for Swarovski, actually.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. And
My
also,
bad.
that's okay. And also a newly sponsored shooter for KDEX as well. He's also the match director for Meaford Steel Challenge, where I've been as well. And then we have Jack. Jack is a former sergeant for the U.S. Marines, and he's also a sponsored shooter for KDEX. And Kalez. Right?
That's right.
Excellent.
Correct.
Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
All right. So we have a lot of people who are interested in PRS, and they're wanting to know exactly what it is. It's catching on here in Canada. It's quite popular in the US, but it's really catching on here in Canada. You guys want to tell us a little bit about it?
Ryan, why don't
Jack,
you
you
go
want to
first?
go first? Okay, yeah, I can go first. Whatever.
No, it's fine. So, the Precision Rifle Series is currently one of the premier long-range shooting sanctioning bodies that's operating at tactical type precision long-range matches. There are other series in the United States, including the NRL and some other subset groups that have other series as well. And really, what it is a to just simplify it as much as possible. It's a precision long-range shooting competition where the object of the matches themselves are to try to create a somewhat realistic scenario that you may face in a practical, tactical type situation. So, a lot of the obstacles that are used are obstacles that you may run into in, a SWAT or law enforcement environment, as well as a military combat environment. And most target engagements are targets greater than 1 MOA in size, which is a minute of angle. So roughly 1 inch per 100 yards. You can do the conversion for our Canadians there, Ryan, if you need to, but that's
we do
that's
MLA up
pretty
here too.
perfect. So, and basically, the object of it is to put you into the most unstable positions that you can to try to really showcase, the fundamentals of your marksmanship and your ability to build hasty positions and get off well-aimed shots, as well as having good kit and accurate rifle systems, as well as scopes that allow you to make quick elevation and windage changes on the fly
Yeah.
to engage those targets. So, if the Precision Rifle Series itself represents the pinnacle of that, sport, then, beyond that, there's different levels, which I'm sure we can, talk about later in the conversation. But
Sure.
that's kind of the PRS in a nutshell from me.
Okay. Ryan, do you got anything to add to that as well?
Yeah, basically the way I usually put it is it's kind of like IPSC with rifles. Um,
Yeah.
not as time sensitive in that you're looking for this fast as possible, but in the aspect that you're doing a lot of movement, usually from position to position or from target to target. And usually the targets are engaged from between 250 and 1400 yards, and in generally in a match, a 1 day match, you'll shoot between 80 and 100 rounds. In a 2 day match, you shoot around 200 rounds. Just kind of give people an idea of how much shooting you can do.
Mm. Okay. So at the Meaford Long Range Steel Challenge that you had last year, you had various barriers that people were shooting off of. You even had a couch that people. So you're putting them in really uncomfortable positions, basically, and you're shooting. I think the longest you shot out to was what, 800? Was it, or 600?
No, we had a bear at steel bear at I believe it was right around 1250.
Okay. All right. So you're testing people. We saw people basically who are beginners right up to
Pros, yeah.
pros, right? So there's a few different type of classes. I do know that there's open, there's tactical. Do you want to explain the different classes that there are as well?
Yeah, for sure. So there's three different classes that are in the PRS. There's open, which is any caliber you can think of. If it's going over above the speed that's allowed in the TAC division.
Okay.
So TAC division is 223 or 308, and that has a restriction on the bullet weight. I believe it's a 178 going 2,800 feet per second for a 308, and I think around 3,000 for with a 77 grain out of a 223. So, and then if you're above that, you get bumped into open class. And open class is anything from a 6 millimeter up to a 30 caliber. Um, so you can run a 300 Norma if you want, or something very large, 300 Win Mag. Um, and that's capped with a speed limit of 3,200 feet per second. The main reason for that is to help with the wear on steel. It gets pretty hard on
Okay.
steel if you start going above that speed. Besides that, you have production class.
All right.
Production class is any rifle that is a production rifle under $2,000 MSRP US, and up to a $2,000 optic as well on that. I believe you can make a few modifications. You can add a muzzle brake, but other than that, it's pretty
Straight out of the
basic.
box.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of companies that have come out this year with those production level guns. Several came out last year, and even more came out this year. So there's a lot
Okay.
of high quality guns out there for $2,000 now.
Okay. So can you modify trigger weight or anything?
I believe you can adjust your trigger if it's adjustable from the factory.
Okay. But
I
no
know a lot of them are,
modifications.
yeah, I know a lot of them are coming with trigger techs. But
Okay.
basically it comes down to if it's threaded for a muzzle brake, you can put a muzzle brake on it. Other than that, you got to shoot factory. So.
Okay. Right. So one of the questions we had from Adriel a couple weeks ago was so if somebody's getting into it, would it be beneficial for them just to shoot what they have like a semi, or just move over to the bolt action right away?
I mean, I think that's an interesting question, and it depends on how you frame it. Because
Okay.
the one thing that I can say to shooters that are out there that are considering shooting a precision long range match is the best thing you can do is just get out and shoot. Like, you can spend all the time in the world focusing on having the best kit and all of the best gear and the best ammo and tuning your loads and all of that to make your system as accurate as possible. But the
Right.
reality into getting into precision rifle shooting, if you're not coming through a background of that you know ilk, is to just get out and shoot matches.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see how addictive this sport is and how passionate you will become by just doing that. And through that, you will learn the deficiencies that you may have in certain pieces of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can tell you, and I'm pretty sure Ryan will agree that, there are matches that running a gas gun could be advantageous. However, um, gas guns inherently are, not as accurate as a bolt gun. And, that flyer every once in a while out of a gas gun can do major damage to your scoring if you're
Right.
a legitimate competitor in a precision rifle match. But if you're shooting some of the locations that have a lot of movement, sometimes gas guns can do well. Historically, if you look at the data, it will show that it's not the best choice. But if I were talking to someone that were considering shooting a PRS match and they maybe had a large frame AR that could stretch out to these distances, I would tell them to go and shoot that gun just to see if they enjoy it before they go and invest the money into you know what I believe to be the best rifle system that exists, which is Cadex.
Right. Well, what are you both running?
We run the same
Go ahead, Jack.
rifle, basically.
Yeah, we run identical rifles.
Well, that makes it easy when you go to a
Oh,
match. One of your guys' rifles goes down, and you just grab the other one.
yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you literally can. Yeah,
yeah.
but
Other than I'm running a 6 millimeter Creedmoor and Jack's running a 6.5 Creedmoor, so that's the only difference between the two of ours.
Okay.
Which one's better?
I was just gonna ask that.
They both have their benefits. The 6.5 can, keep up a little better in the wind when you get further out.
Yeah.
The 6 millimeter is a little less recoil, so you can see your follow up
Flash.
shots a little easier. So
Mhm.
I think that's maybe an interesting topic to discuss real quick, especially considering, the who may be listening to the podcast and
Sure.
who may be interested in it.
Okay.
You know, the evolution of the sport over the last, 3 to 5 years has been, if you talk to shooters 5 years ago, people were trying to build lightweight rifles that were using heavier calibers. So it was very popular, 3 to 5 years ago, to see guys trying to run, 6.5 Psalms. There were other 6.5 variants that came out, Wildcat cartridges that, shot heavier projectiles at speeds close to the speed limit, and they were running the lightest rifles that they could. And as the sport has evolved, what you're seeing now is kind of a transition to where people are shooting very low recoil cartridges like 6 Creedmoor or 6 Dasher or 6XC, or all the other variants we could go into there with regards to 6 millimeter, and then running heavy rifles, with the whole premise of that evolution being your ability to make good follow-up shots.
Right.
You're spotting not only misses, I mean, I think your first step as a shooter in this, field is to be able to spot your misses well. And then your evolution from that is to be able to spot your hits and make corrections even off of subtleties that you notice in your point of impact. And if you shoot my rifle versus shooting Ryan's rifle, you will notice that you are able to get on target faster for your follow-up shot with the 6 millimeter, because it's inducing less recoil to change your sight picture or alter the rifle's position. So it's really interesting that you asked that question, because that's really where things are headed. I think if you do an analysis of the top 100 shooters at the finale this season, I think a huge percentage of them are running 6 millimeters.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well. Most of
mhm.
them are
And
cadets.
if you look at year over year, it's going to be, um, the trend is definitely heading more and more towards 6 mil. If you
So,
look 3 or 4 years ago, it'd be very few.
mhm. In terms of rifles, so we know that both you guys run Cadex rifles. What would you guys recommend for someone at a low budget, medium budget, and then
Yeah.
high end budget?
I'd say starting at the low end budget, I would recommend like a Ruger RPR, Ruger Precision Rifle, yeah, Ruger Precision Rifle is what they call it, or a Bagheera rifle. I think it's a Bagheera HMR. Those are kind of your entry level rifles that are designed or have been designed around shooting PRS type of shooting.
Okay.
Uh, from there, where can you move up to?
Wouldn't you think maybe mid-level recommendation that would be good, Ryan, would be to run, some sort of, 700 action variant, but then in a Cadex chassis to kind of mitigate some of the cost
Y-
there?
yeah. So then, yeah. So when you step up to a mid range, you could look at like run, say
Field
somebody
strike.
Yeah, or somebody building a rifle off of a Remington 700 action with a custom barrel. You're going to be kind of going up into once you get a Cadex chassis or a stock of your choice. If you prefer stocks, you're going to be running into like the $2,500 range. Those other two rifles around the 14 or $1,500 range.
Right.
From there, you're really stepping up for into factory rifles. You're going to be stepping up into a Cadex, like what we're running a CDX R7 comp light style rifle, and those are. Oh, I just looked at the pricing actually because somebody was asking. They're right around 5,000 right now, and you're going to be right around the same. Also to build a custom rifle through a gunsmith. There's several gunsmiths across Canada you can go with that are reputable. Just make sure you do your research on it because there are some that, well, I only let a few people touch my rifles. Let's put it that way.
I mean, that seems expensive, but then if I think about it, a competition pistol like a 2011 is $5,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jack, you were talking about the fact that you can buy. Oh, sorry, we didn't talk about top of the line either. So, did you want to
Yeah,
make a
top of
recommend?
line. Yeah, top of lines is you're getting up into that. Like I said, the comp light from Cadex, for example, which is like I said around $5,000 with a folder. I think it's a little bit less without a folder.
Okay.
And you're going to be running like a four. It's a four lug action in that, so it's very fast. With a Bartline barrel on them. It's a pretty sweet rifle. I'm pretty happy with it. I've only been out a couple times shooting, and I've been very impressed so far.
What do
For
you
the
get with it?
testing.
What do you get with one of those compared to like a Ruger precision rifle? Like, what's the difference between that $1,500 rifle and the $5,000 rifle?
Big jump up is in the quality of the machining,
Okay.
quality of the finish that you're seeing in all the products. Cadex. I took a tour of the Cadex factory back in December with Ken Thiessen, who's
Mm-hmm.
also on our team. He's from Bullseye London,
Yep.
and I was blown away by the facility. They literally do everything in-house, from injection moldings to of the plastic parts to all of the machining is done in-house. They literally bring in the Bartline barrels from the States as a full inch and a quarter blank and machine it down from there. So literally everything is done in-house, and that's what you're paying for is that quality of control that they have. The amount of CNC machines in that shop is insane. And they're just going full out all the time. Custom paint booths. They have custom paint booth they have set up there as well. You're paying for a lot of that quality control. The big upgrades are also in the triggers. They have a lot better trigger in the Cadex rifles. That they actually even build those in house too, which is
Mm.
amazing. Um,
And
and yeah, it's yeah,
it
exactly. And
there's so much you could talk about on this though, like
Yeah.
where you and not to besmirch anyone's name or any of the companies that are out there because we've mentioned several manufacturers that build really good quality rifles, but everything that Ryan's alluding to is obviously very important stuff, but I think another thing too to take into consideration is like just the overall engineering and um, everything that's put into a rifle. If a lot of people will ask me at matches, because there are less expensive options out there than Cadex.
Mm-hmm.
They'll ask me questions about them, and a lot of times all it takes is simply putting the rifle in their hands and
Yeah.
allowing them to manipulate the bolt and to actually look at the rifle next to whatever other ones that they're considering, and you can see the difference. Now, there's a lot that's beyond that, a lot of the points that Ryan's talking about, but even down to things as simple as, recoil impulse. Cadex has a team of engineers that are just phenomenal with being able to understand how recoil works, being able to engineer a chassis that's going to create the best um, direction of the recoil and allow the shooter to feel at one with the rifle, to be able to place well aimed shots. And those are things that even if I hand you the rifle, you're not going to get to see. So
Right.
I can remember as a really good example, even before Ryan came on board the team, and I'm super happy to have him as a teammate because I think he's just a wonderful guy. But he was asking me about the four lug action because a lot of people are concerned on that. They're used to running two lug or maybe three lug actions, and they're concerned about bolt lift. And with the Cadex four lug action, you're talking about a 50-degree throw. I mean, you're only moving that bolt 50 degrees to make, to disengage and be able to move the bolt to the rear and then come forward and cocking and everything. And people are concerned about that. But if you get behind the rifle and you manipulate it, you're blown away. And what happens to people a lot of times is they sit and they look online at pricing and things like that, but they're not actually getting an
Shooting it.
opportunity to shoot it and
Yeah.
to look at it, in person. They're reading articles and they're reading other people's reviews. And, I would challenge people to get out there regardless of what you're looking at, whether it's a Cadex or something else, and actually get out there and shoot it, because the proof's in the pudding. When you get behind the rifle and you actually manipulate it and you throw it up on barricades and do the things that we do to these rifles, that's when you see the difference. And, the difference beyond the points that we just made are also the fact that the durability of the rifles, the abilities for these rifles to take a fall, get knocked over, get kicked over, fall off rocks, things like that. That's where you see the differences in quality too. Some of the other rifle systems that we talked about, you're going to get a good rifle here and there from them, but the consistency of quality and the durability of the rifle is where the more expensive manufacturers are going to shine,
Right.
because you're gonna see that.
I also think that with Cadex, you're going to get a rifle that's fitted. It can be more fitted to you as well, basically with the chassis that they have. So
Correct.
that's what I saw when I was looking at them at Meaford.
Did you get
You
a
know,
chance to shoot? Did you get a chance to shoot them, Kelly? Or
No, I was too busy ROing the stage. But
sorry.
yeah, handling
Okay.
them
Well,
there is nice.
yeah. Next year, I'll go. I'll give you a break, and you can go over and
All
shoot them.
right, thanks.
Yeah.
so kind. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't heard of a 4 lug action before. I've heard of 2 and 3, and I've heard of the Weatherbees with their, I don't know, 9 lugs or whatever they have on the Mark Fives. This is really interesting. So it's got like
Mm.
4 lugs all around the circumference of this thing. So yeah, I guess less bolt lift and faster to use.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And the treatment they put on the bolt as well is very slick, and it helps with that manipulation and speed as well. And the 4 lug it's nice. I was skeptical at first because they do
Mhm.
offer a 3 lug as well, and I've ran 3 lugs in the past, and I was happy with the product, but I wasn't ecstatic about it. And I know that Cadex went to release the R7 and then decided to really look at it again, and they make sure when they put out a product it is perfect or very close to perfect, in my opinion. The engineers they have there are geniuses. The stuff that they come up with and think outside the box is pretty amazing. The products I've seen them in the pipeline is like, just how did you think of that, man?
Wow.
So
Well, you
and
guys
I
are.
know, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I know Jack agrees too. Like, some of the stuff we've seen is just incredible.
Yeah.
So
Well, what I was going to say is that you both are great brand ambassadors. It sounds like you really, really enjoy shooting Cadex, so that's great.
thanks. Yep.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we enjoy shooting Cadex, but for us, it's all about the growth of the sport. As much as I love my sponsors, and
Mhm.
I'm in a position where I'm fortunate enough to be sponsored by companies that, even if I were a consumer, I would be buying that product. And to me, that's the sign of truly who you want to be sponsored by, is the person that you're willing to pay full price for,
Right.
as a professional. But with that being said, I mean, there are a lot of options out there, but the reality is, I want to see this sport grow, and I love seeing the momentum that this sport has garnered in Canada. I mean, I enjoy shooting that match every single season, because the Canadians are just so eager to get out there and do what we do. They're so, you know, receptive to taking, advice. And they just are great spirited, competitors. And like I said, not just because I'm sponsored by Cadex, but because I
Mhm.
really enjoy coming up to Canada. That's on my, you know, must do list every season, is get up there.
Okay. Why do you think that it's becoming so popular in Canada now?
It's a lot of fun to shoot.
It is.
I shot my first match. 2016, I think it was, down in the States, and or sorry, 2015. I shot a 1 day match in Michigan, and I was addicted
Yeah.
immediately. And anybody else that I know that has shot it has become the same way. The the challenge of hitting these targets at distances in high winds and understanding how the ballistics work and so many more aspects of becoming an excellent rifleman in the process it's a lot of fun, and it's a challenge. Up here, the majority of the shooting has always been prone shooting.
Yep.
For long range, it's always been on military bases, at stationary targets or semi-stationary targets. And to me, that's great fun. It's a lot. I've done it for years, and I still do it. But it isn't as interesting as this activity, as getting out there and shooting and moving and engaging targets at multiple distances.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Jack?
more fun to shoot off of like a wheelbarrow or a
Yeah.
step ladder than off a bench.
Yes, yeah,
Well, no,
precisely.
the reality is, I mean, I know Ryan and Chris, have to really put in a more prone stages than
Yeah.
we might normally have in the United States because of the fact that, we want to make sure that people that are coming out and shooting matches are getting impacts. I mean, the addictive part of the sport is hearing that impact, when you get when you hit a target, and obviously hearing the report of the steel when you hit a target as well. But so Ryan and Chris at their matches, because the conditions there are generally difficult compared to the matches that we shoot in the United States. I mean, I would say that the Canadian match at Meaford offers, high level challenge with
Mm-hmm.
regards to conditions in comparison to what we have a lot of times in the United States. And there's two factors that play into that. Number one, the
Wind.
wind that you get there coming off the bay is factor number one. Number two, the fact that you're shooting in really high grass, where there's generally very little opportunity to see misses. So it frustrates a lot of shooters when you send rounds down range and you missed because you didn't hit the target, but you have no idea where the round went because you can't make adjustments.
Right.
And if you shoot another facility where you're shooting in a very challenging position, but you've got a huge berm behind the target, and you know that you were 3 feet left, you can make an adjustment. Whereas at the Meaford match, it's very difficult to do that. So they add a lot of prone stages in comparison. But I mean, an
Yeah.
average precision rifle series match, you are shooting very few stages prone, with the exception of extended long range PRS matches, which, one of my favorite matches to shoot in the United States is a match that's at Q Creek,
Okay.
which I believe this season is going to be an NRL match.
No, it's
And
actually
that,
it's actually neither, Jack.
oh, really?
Yeah.
So they're still having it, but it's not going
Yes.
to be, okay. And that match is outstanding because there you shoot, the average target distance is like 1,300 yards, and you
Oh,
shoot out to 2,200 yards.
All right.
So it's just and in that match, you do shoot a lot prone because there's so many other variables when you get out to those distances and you have rounds that are going, transonic, and the difficulty of the ballistics becomes exceedingly more challenging when you start getting out, at distances greater than a mile. So with that being said, we talked a little earlier about IPSC, but with rifles. The difference in this sport, where I think it's interesting and why it gains so much traction, is that it's a it's a sport where there's a lot of intellect involved, not
Mm-hmm.
just the fundamentals of shooting. If you're a good pistol shooter, repetition can make you better, right? With precision rifle shooting, repetition makes you better, but repetition doesn't also prepare you for all of the ballistics that you have to learn and all of the other layers of shooting at distance that come into play versus, just understanding marksmanship itself.
Right.
Um, so that's what the dynamic there. I think it's a lot more dependent on having, good ballistic calculations, understanding, muzzle velocity and how it affects the flight of your bullet, and different ballistic coefficients of drag, and, all the variables that are there, temperatures and air densities and everything that we have to take into consideration. That sometimes it can seem overwhelming, but when you learn it and you have the right pieces of kit, it can make that a very simple
It
job.
clicks. Well, that's
Yeah.
my next question. So we're going to go, how do people prepare for events? Like, what equipment do they need? Like, people always talk about the game changers. And
All right.
like
I can
what do they
simplify
need?
it. I can simplify it to this.
Okay.
If you have a rifle that is capable of shooting sub-minute groups,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so groups smaller than 1 inch, you need to also have ballistic data. I would recommend at a minimum having, a Kestrel that's going to give you, with the applied ballistics, and then having a game changer. If you have those three pieces of kit, you can pretty much shoot a match.
Where can I buy
And
one of those game changers?
Yeah. Can you explain what that is?
So
so,
so
Game
game change.
Changer
Yeah, go
is
ahead,
a
Jack.
bag that was designed by Clifton Reeser, who actually it's built by another sponsor of mine who is the best bag manufacturer in the industry as far as I'm concerned. That's Armageddon Gear. So how you would get a game changer, and now there's different iterations of that. There's the OG game changer that's, there's a waxed canvas version, there's different fills,
Yep.
there's now a smaller sized one. And basically what the design of the game changer is it's a bag that creates a V on the bottom and gives you like a flat surface on the top. And what that allows you to do is use one bag in a multitude of scenarios with varying thicknesses of objects. So whether you're shooting off a regular barricade, which is, a 2x4 on its side, or you're shooting off a set of stairs, or you're shooting off of a fence post or a cow gate or whatever, the game changer has the ability to adjust to kind of create a flat surface for you to shoot off of without being fixed flat itself, meaning like a hard object. But
Is it
what's
something like
dynamic
this?
about
Something that you can like pop it on something and you can kind of strap it to your rifle on the top, kind of a thing?
yeah, that's very similar what you're holding right there.
Cool.
Yeah, that's same
So
idea.
yeah, and you can also use it inverted and put the rear, the buttstock of the rifle into it to use it as a rear bag. There's just so much you can do, and it's interesting when you watch the game changer in use because some shooters do strap it to their rifle. Other companies have come up with different interfaces that make it where you can bolt it onto the Arca type rail on the bottom of the rifle and slide it around and not have it move. Other people prefer to have the game changer be free floating so they can kind of like lift the rifle up and place it back down on top. There's many different ways that it can be utilized, but it's a must-have in your kit, as far as I'm concerned, to be able to shoot because it's so dynamic. You can use it inverted, you can use it on its side, you can use it, in its typical orientation with the pointed portions down. It's just it literally is a game changer. I mean, the bag, the name couldn't be more perfect because it really is. With regards to bags, it is a game changer and it is
Game
something
changer.
that you have to have. And like I said, Ryan, I mean, do you disagree that if you got out there with a minute of angle or less rifle, good ammo, a bipod that's legit,
Yeah,
a scope that you can adjust the turrets on, obviously. I'm taking some of these things for granted, but those things, and then outside of that, you have a game changer and a Kestrel, and you can go out there and shoot a match.
yeah. I wouldn't even say if you're going to be getting into it, you don't even need to go to a Kestrel yet. There's lots of good quality apps on you can pick up for your phone even to run those ballistics off of. If you
Mm.
have good data that you can put in off of a chronograph, you should be in good shape to get your ballistics to go shoot a match. I know that the Hornady Ford DAF or Ford DOF is a good app. I run Applied Ballistics as well, and Ballistic Arc is the other one I've used as well. I have a Kestrel myself now because it is just easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I agree that if you needed, we'll say three things that are outside the norm of your standard rifle shooting at your local range, it's going to be a game changer or a bag of that sort, a ballistic app or Kestrel, and a solid backpack to carry all your gear, because you tend to have a lot of gear by the time you're done packing all this stuff up with all your ammo and rain gear and so on. You can, anything from a standard backpack to like an Everly stock pack. That's what I like to use right now. So,
All right. Okay. So I have a question for you. All right, Aaron Hip, John Pinch, you Jack, also Ryan. What makes you guys such great competitors? I see that you're very competitive amongst yourself, but you also, for example, you'll call if you need to change your dope or something like that. So you'll swap for each other as well. So, but I also saw when, again, we're talking about Meaford, saw a difference between people who regularly shoot it, especially the Americans, where it was a time stage, maybe it was 60 seconds. They'd finish it in 25, where everybody else was timing out. What makes them so special, or what makes them so effective at shooting a PRS?
Jack, you want to go first?
I mean, yeah, I mean the best thing I can tell you is repetition. I mean,
Practice?
it's practice makes perfect. I mean, you create your own luck. The more time you spend behind the rifle, and a lot of people get caught up in that, and they think, oh, I can't go out there and shoot because I can't afford the ammo, to put rounds down range. The reality of shooting this game is placing well-aimed shots where you intend for them to go, and you can practice doing that by dry firing.
Yep.
You don't have to go out there and send one round downrange in order to get practice. So that's not a valid excuse, to me, if someone's telling me why they can't shoot precision rifle, because, I'm embarrassed to say this, but it's reality. I have, kids that are competitive athletes that keep me, constantly running around 24/7. In fact, my 11-year-old is competing in the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation World Championship next weekend, and at 11 years old, and I'm just always on the fly with my kids, and I don't get a chance to shoot very often, but my practice is really shooting matches. But I will tell you that any chance I get, I can not even go to the range and get trigger time in by just dry firing. And one of our teammates, Dominic, actually has a new dry fire system that's very affordable that I have, and it is an absolute, you know, necessity if
Okay.
you don't have the option of getting to a range and you want to practice dry firing. Because if you're honest with yourself and you squeeze that trigger and the hammer goes forward and theoretically send a round down range, and you're honest with yourself on where that reticle was when that happened, you are going to get better by building your positions and your trigger control and your breathing and your body alignment and sight picture and all those things by dry firing, because you see things that you won't see when you're really, shooting too, because you've got the report of the rifle and the recoil coming through and all of that just distracts your mind. Whereas when you get behind that rifle and you look through that reticle and you dry fire, it doesn't lie. You see where that rifle was when it clicked.
All right.
So,
Yeah, for myself, I do a lot of dry fire in the wintertime because, well, there's 3 feet of snow outside and I can't get out to my range. So, and before I used to use just little pieces of paper on the wall,
Yeah.
they scale to the size of the target. What we put on the end of our scope, it's a lens that allows your scope to focus down to about 10 or 12 feet. And you can utilize the scope inside then in your basement. And that was boring, very boring. I found it hard to do, but I still tried to do as much as I could. Now what we have is the training aid from Dom, and it's great because it allows you to go, and it has a situation where it's actually a picture of the range, and just 1 second. My daughter's sick, so.
Uh-oh.
Are you good?
Oh.
You good?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like dry fire is really useful
Sorry.
in IPSC, and a lot of guys will, get the little IPSC classic targets and put them around their room to kind of shoot to dry fire at.
Right.
Similar kind of idea, right? But I guess with long range, you've got that additional problem of you've got a scope that's got massive magnification on it that is made to focus out on something that's like 800 yards away, not 5.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. But yeah, so essentially his target is a poster stand that has a range. It's actually at the Valcartier range in Quebec City, and on that range he has a whole bunch of targets laid out across it at different sizes, and then you can. What I
Scaled.
do is I
Yeah.
yeah, they're scaled, and so I just set a target distance to each one, and then it allows me to dial and or do work on my holds, practice, and you put different scenarios together of, say that you have a half a mile hour, or, a 2 mile hour wind or a 6 mile an hour wind, and you decide how you have to hold for your wind on those things. Um, the big thing I've seen with a lot of shooters, high shooters or high quality shooters and high ranking shooters, is the speed that they can build these positions to get their shots off. The faster you can build a solid position, the more time you have to take a good shot.
Right.
And so if you have that extra, half a second to establish what the wind is, or if the wind's changed between positions or between shots even,
Hmm.
it allows you to, get that many more hits on steel, and that's what counts, right?
Right.
And it adds up to good quality shooters and good placings in your matches. So
Right. Well, speaking of matches, great segue, by the way. Let's talk about some of the matches that are going to be coming up here in Canada. So, Ryan, you have a 1 day match, or it's not really a 1 day match. It's like almost like a seminar
so yeah,
course.
so we've got a bunch of stuff going on this year. It's going to be a
Yeah, a
busy year
lot.
right now. Yeah. So I guess I'll start from the 2 day matches I'm going to be running this year.
Okay.
That are 2 day PRS sanctioned matches. There's our one we've been out running for the last this will be the
Mm,
fourth year in Meaford.
yep.
And it's going to be on September 7th weekend, I believe it is. Let me just double check. Yeah, sorry. It starts on September 6th, which is the Friday for sight-in, and then 7th and 8th is the match. Then that's in Meaford in September. And then I teamed up with Rob Furlong from the Rob Furlong Marksmanship Academy out in Hanna, Alberta. And we're going to be running a 2 day sanctioned PRS match out there. It's the first sanctioned 2 day out in Western Canada, and that's going to
Yep.
be on the 12th to the 14th of July.
Right.
And so that's pretty exciting. Rob's got a pretty cool facility out there. I believe it's 10 kilometers by 10 kilometers square. I asked him, I said, like, how far can we shoot? He's basically said, as far as you can see, you can shoot. So yeah, it's pretty incredible. I'm gonna be going out in the late April and hope to do a little bit of shooting myself while I'm out there. So,
Awesome.
um, so those are my two big 2 day matches that we're going to be running this year. Besides that, I've got 5 matches I'll be running in Petawawa
Right.
with the Petawawa Gun Club. Morgan there, the president. He's a great guy to work with, and we're allowed to shoot steel on the range because it's a D&D range. So it's really handy that way. So I got matches coming up in basically from March until June. I got a match every month, and then the finale is going to be in October to for the last of the year. So March 30th, April 20th, May 11th, June 15th and 16th, and October 19th and 20th. So the
Is
two
there
day.
is there a central place that someone
Yeah.
can go to find
Yeah,
all these
exactly.
PRS matches?
Yeah, for sure. So the best place is look it up on Facebook.
Okay.
The Petawawa PRS Club Series is the on Facebook. You'll find it under there for the Petawawa matches. The Alberta match is the Canadian Sharpshooter Classic, and the Meaford match is the Meaford Long Range Steel Challenge.
Do you want to tell us about the East Elgin one that you got going on too?
Yeah, for sure. So Ken Thiessen from Bullseye London, he's my shooting partner, and we've been shooting together for quite a few years. And we're going to be running a intro to PRS, just a 1 day in class seminar. They're running basically going to be going through essential equipment, getting prepared for a match, looking at a little bit of wind reading and building positions and kind of working on the basics for getting into PRS is what
Perfect.
we're doing there. So with that one, they can find that on the East Elgin Sportsman Association's Facebook page. You can find a link on there, and if you go, or the registration for that's on Practice Score. So if they just look up East Elgin Sportsman Association, it should come up as PRS Intro Clinic.
Very
Perfect.
cool.
Well, and another point that I want to make too, guys, is that
Okay.
you know we're all North American, and although it's very challenging for us to come to Canada from the United States because you have to have an invitation letter and
Mm-hmm.
it's much more challenging. I would like Ryan to talk for a minute because I do get a chance to shoot with him in the United States, which I will next month as well. And I'd like for him to talk for a brief moment about, people that live in or are Canadian shooters that live close to the border, realizing that the only options aren't Canadian matches because actually coming to the United States from Canada is not a terribly challenging endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would you
It's
agree with
actually
that, Ryan?
it's actually easier in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So you have to go on the ATF website and get a 6NIA form. It's called. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you have the updated one. I didn't have the updated one when I just renewed mine, so I had to renew it again. But anyway, you send that in. Usually, 2 to 6 weeks later, you get it back and you're good to go. Essentially, you just need a invite letter from the match. Just makes your crossing the border a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I find if you can carry as much information as you can, say match location, hotel reservations, so on and so forth, it makes your life a lot faster when you go through the border. Um, I'm going to say it's about 50-50 when we get pulled in. Half the time, usually when we get pulled in, out of that time, they more
They
just
just
want
want to look
to.
at the guns.
You got
That's
it
what.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're curious about the rifles. We get questions
Yeah.
about our scopes and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
that's really it's
They're
super
generally
simple.
more fun, curious questions than it
Yeah.
is like you getting grilled. Like it's not the scary monster that people think it is going across. And that's my whole point is just to make sure that people realize that, although it's crossing borders, it's really not that difficult, and very few people have problems. So
Right.
just don't forget about the matches that are just across the border. Either way,
Right.
if you're an American shooter thinking about shooting, going to Canada is not the worst thing in the world to get in across. My recommendation to the U.S. shooters is on your way into Canada, stop in the United States to declare your weapons on your way out.
Yep.
It makes getting back much easier. But again, our countries are very friendly with one another, and it's not bad. It's actually pretty painless.
Perfect.
Sweet.
So, anything else that you would like to add? You want to talk about sponsorship?
Um, I mean, obviously, we've talked a lot about the people that we believe in and the
Mm-hmm.
products that we believe in. I mean, um, KDEX. We talked a lot about the weapon systems. Combat proven. The one thing that I love about KDEX in comparison to many other precision rifle series rifle systems is that they're a combat proven weapon system that's not just built for competition. And that speaks volumes to me as far as the durability of the system, the longevity, the quality, all of that. Aside from that, obviously we talked about Collis. If you're in the market for the best scopes that are available for precision rifle shooting, it needs to be at the top of your list of ones to look through. Like I said, scopes are similar to rifles that there's something that you really need to get your hands on. You need to run the scope, turn the turrets, look through them, make sure you find a reticle that you can understand, that's going to be quick for you. And, we talked about Game Changer and Armageddon gear, and obviously having the Game Changer is a super important part of your kit, but there's many other bags that can be useful, and there's a lot of lightweight options that can clip easily to your packs. If you want to be competitive and you don't have time to hand load, I'm actually also sponsored by Nexus Ammunition. Um, they build ammunition that is match worthy, that you know, you don't have to break the bank to get, and you don't have to spend countless hours behind a reloading bench. A lot of guys, get caught up in that, and it's a fun thing to do. But if you just want to be able to get out and shoot, there are, match-worthy ammo that exists from companies like Nexus, that are out there. So, um, I think going full circle with the conversation, the main thing that we should get out there to people that are considering doing this is, don't be afraid, take that leap of faith, get out there and do some shooting. You will never have more fun in your life than you will, out shooting these precision rifle type matches. And just always be a student of the game. The most important thing for me is I keep a list of stuff that I want to make sure that I don't do again. All the stupid mistakes that I've made throughout the years. And we all make them, no matter how long we've done this. And, I've come to Canada the last 3 seasons and, finished top 5, the first 2. And I don't even remember where I finished last year, but it's just getting out there and shooting and having fun is what it's all about. And the one thing that I can say too about this industry that I love in comparison to IPSC and all the other, shooting bodies that are out there is you will not find a group of people that are more supportive, willing to loan you pieces of kit, share with you data, help you to shoot stages,
Yep.
than you will in precision rifle shooting. It is unparalleled in any other organization as far as I'm concerned. And I've been around a lot of them. And, I'm sure those of you, if you've attended, and I know you have, but you will see that there isn't the cutthroat mentality that there is in a lot of the other competitive series where people are just in it for themselves. I think people generally want to see this sport grow and are willing to share, and I think that's very different than a lot of the other options that exist.
Okay. Ryan, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say, Jack. Definitely, it's definitely a very welcoming group of people that we shoot with. If you want to get out and just try it, just come out with anything you have for a rifle. Um, it helps if you have a detachable mag, but you don't need one.
Yeah.
It helps a lot if you have a second or first focal plane scope, so that you can use your reticle, but you don't absolutely have to have one. Don't believe that you need to go and have a $4,000 rig to come shoot your first match, especially these 1-day matches that I'm running up in Petawawa. They're designed to get new shooters out, right? We're going to be coaching people on the line. If you're having problems, we're going to be helping you out. If you're missing targets, we'll help you out. And help you work on your positions, where you need to put your hands at, what knee I need to put up, and so on, and get square behind your rifle and so on, like that. Everybody, like Jack said, is out there to make have the sport grow, and they want to make it bigger and bring more people into it because they know how great of a sport it is, and how much fun it is to shoot long range with these rifles. And going back to, like, if you don't want to shoot center fire, go out and shoot some rimfire. Rimfire is a blast to shoot for long range. We've shot rimfire out to 300 plus meters, and it's a pile of fun. And it's a challenge too because it just does some crazy stuff when it gets out past 250. So and the same fundamentals apply. You just don't have the recoil you're dealing with then. Like I said, and Rick has a pile of different matches going on right now all across Canada. And I highly recommend getting out, and they're cheap to shoot.
Very much. Yeah.
Well, no, and the beauty is if you go out and shoot rimfire, that's as close as you can get to 6 dasher without actually running one. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack. Yeah.
That's to all my 6 dasher friends that are out there.
A little bit of a ribbing.
All right. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for coming on tonight, and some really interesting stuff that you shared, and also for being great at brand ambassadors for KDEX, but also for the sport. I hope it really is catching on, and it's exciting to see it grow here in Canada. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for both coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for having us. It was our pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you both. Andrew, there is a question for you. Andrew Darcy asked if you're going to have anything at CFB Kingston.
No, sorry.
No, sorry, not Kingston. CFB Borden. Sorry.
They've had some issues with that as well. I can't really get into the details.
It's a based, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's politics.
You got it.
But it's great that you got onto Petawawa. Morgan had such a great time at Meaford last year, so I know that. So
Morgan's been awesome to deal with. I've become good friends with Morgan, and he's a great part of the sport.
Yeah, he is. But all right, then. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll let you go. But if anybody has questions, I'll fire them. Ryan, are you looking for ROs as well? I didn't ask that, but
yes, we are. Oh, yeah, we're always looking for ROs for Meaford and for the Alberta match as well.
Okay,
we'll be looking for ROs for both those.
Okay, we'll plug it for you, and
thank you.
Let us know if you have it.
Go ahead. A great point too. If someone's interested in Precision Rifle Series, but really wants to learn what it's about, I think one of the best ways you can improve your own game is to RO.
Yeah.
You see all the how all the top shooters shoot. You see all the mistakes that people make, and you can actually learn a ton by ROing. So that's a great segue into that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll make sure that we mention that as well. So, but thank you both for coming on, and sorry about pushing it a day, but
no problem.
We really, really appreciate it. So thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Here, let me help.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Bye.
Let me just eject them unceremoniously. Eject.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
If you're looking at PRS, I highly recommend the ROing because I had so much fun at Meaford. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be. You do know I'm going to be in. I am going to be in Alberta during the Rob Furlong match. Maybe.
Are you going to RO it? Or are you going to shoot gophers?
With that, what, out to 2,000 meters? What?
2,000 meters? No, are you going to RO the Rob Furlong match?
Or shoot gophers with you?
Yeah.
I'm at their maple seeding. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll
in between matches, in between maple seeds.
Yeah.
Put in some gopher.
Let's get this started because it's already. Hi, everybody. Thanks for hanging in with us. We're going to get started on the episode. We're going to cut in the main topic halfway through. So, you ready?
Yeah, why not?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Slamfire Radio, episode 290 for February 8th, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Kelly Lynn.
And I'm Adriel Michaud.
Okay. And obviously, Matthew and Trevor aren't here. And it's just because they didn't care.
Strong hate for the listeners and lack of empathy and caring and sympathy too.
Sure. I don't know why they're not here. We have no idea, but that's what we're saying. They just don't care. Probably something to do with flying things. I don't know.
Flying and old swords.
Yeah, probably trying to find this sword, whether it's a true, I don't know.
Fake old swords. Old Roman swords. Yep.
All right. Why don't we get into what we did in guns? What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearm retailer. Did you know that they're getting in Dillon reloading products soon? Just wanted to let everybody know that, but did you know, Adriel?
I know now.
Yeah. So just stay tuned. They'll be getting that stuff in, then you can reload for your precision rifle series.
No,
that you're going to be shooting.
No, not with a progressive. You got to handcraft every single one. They've got to be like some sort of old, some like wood and old iron and calipers, and that's how you make it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you're right. Shouldn't be
handcrafted with love.
Handcrafted with love
or hate. You could. It has to be crafted with an emotion, love or hate.
You could put a kiss on each one of them.
I don't know about that emotion. Is that an emotion? I guess.
Yeah.
Lust?
Lust? We're going to just move on from there because I don't want to talk about lust with our...
Get us out of here.
All right. Adriel, why don't you tell us what you did in guns this week?
All right. I shot a pistol match. And I did whenever you're going to go shoot a match, the correct thing to do is take out a pistol with a bunch of new parts in it that you haven't tried and just go straight into a match.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
How'd it work for you?
It did. It worked well. Yeah. It was a little bit dodgy because it's like, I didn't adjust anything. Hopefully it doesn't double. Hopefully I don't get like the double tap trigger or anything like that. Because I put a bunch of trigger mods into this shadow and took it out. And it ran fine. So yeah, right. I would say so. I did pretty well. I had like I wouldn't say I shot spectacularly. My first two stages were pretty cold, pretty rusty. But my stages after, stage 3 and 4, were pretty good. And
how'd you finish?
I finished second in production and third overall.
Nice.
It's a bit. We had more people out there than we usually have. There was like 35 people out shooting. And like in terms of overall, like Jeff Chang was out there. Yeah, he's gonna beat me every time. I don't care. That's fine.
But if he's out there, he's gonna push you to do better as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There was a guy named Dimitri out there. He's an excellent production shooter as well. And yeah, I was behind those guys, so pretty pleased with that. I would say I had a real consistent match. I didn't like burn anything down, but I had a real consistent match where I had one stoppage. I had not these base plates. I had some other base plates that came with this magwell, and without the magwell on there, they're a little bit tight. They didn't seat quite right. Yeah. And I got my first shot off, and then my second one, I needed to do the old tap rack. Yeah. And I was back up and running. So awesome. Anyways, really fun match. Someone was like, "Hey, I saw your video on your trigger mods, your 10-second video. Are you gonna do one with all the full video?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I know. I wanted to get just show the comparison, but I guess that wasn't enough. So I did a full video showing all the trigger mods that I put in this. I ended up doing it 3 times, doing the whole video 3 times, because the first one I wasn't super happy about, and then the second one I wasn't super happy about because the color was looking like crap and it wasn't in focus half the time. So I did a 3rd version, and that was good. So
awesome.
I stopped there. Let's see here. My Tenda MRE pack came in.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, a bunch of these. I got a package.
Okay, I know people. We can get you that for free.
This stuff for free? The MREs? I've had the Canadian ones before. Right. These ones come with heaters. Okay. Heaters are in there. So here's my thinking.
Complete meal. What is in there? It's American. MREs that are American
food,
are no bueno. It's no bueno.
Food,
you need the Canadian version.
Nutrition-ish. Kind of. Yeah. It'll fill you up and you'll have a big poop. So not gun related, but I'm going to use this for match days, because on match days, typically most shooters go to Tim Hortons in the morning, get themselves a large double-double or extra large double-double, get themselves a breakfast sandwich, and then get themselves another breakfast sandwich for lunch. And then they have their, coffee and sandwich in the morning. And then they have a cold, nasty sandwich for lunch.
Well, why don't you just get a ham and cheese?
I don't know. I guess you could. I guess you could have a ham and cheese. Anyways, that's my alternative. I want a hot meal.
I want to see you eat that.
Heaters in it. There's chemical heater packs.
Okay, but what is it?
This one is chicken noodle stew with vegetables.
Yeah. Okay.
But keep in mind, I'm not a picky eater. I eat all sorts of garbage, and that's cool.
You've been to China, so you'll eat things like crickets
and other places too. I've been to worse places. Let's see here. That came in. I also got like some replacement filament fiber optics. I went for like the tasters pack. So this one's got like yellow and green and a couple red. I'll probably only use the red, but I don't know. Interesting to have some alternatives.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've been working on getting. I've been working on an article for long range 22, and the only reason why I'm working on the article is I couldn't find a great one that talked about like your rail and MOA that you need at various distances.
Yep.
So I'm working on that right now.
So you're writing an article specifically on it where you can find longer rails, right?
And how much rail and base you need, and typical what you get for scopes and that kind of thing. Okay. Like how much MOA adjustment and what it even means. Like if a scope has 80 MOA adjustment, does that mean you can shoot out to 400? And the answer is no, because that's up and down.
That's right.
Yeah, so you actually need a rail in there to take advantage of that.
So have you been researching places in Canada where you can get these as well, or you?
Not yet. Right now I'm doing base research on like average like drop on the 22 distances, average MOA adjustability for like a low end scope, a medium end scope, and a high end scope. So I've got all that stuff. Then I added in rails in there and how much rail you can use with how much scope, because the absolute cheapest scopes you can buy, if you got a 30 or 40 MOA rail, you would not be on, like you wouldn't be able to get it on target at close range.
No.
Because it's too much.
Right.
But I will get there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's not a lot of places. Alaska's one that maybe
Alaska. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Alaska, but there's not a lot.
You know, one thing that I found interesting was the Burris Signature Z rings can give you quite a bit of adjustment. Mm-hmm. Their 1-inch scope rings will do 40 MOA, because you can do 20 on the top and 20 on the bottom of the front. And their 30 mil scope rings will do 10, but if you place the rings a little bit closer together, you can get 27 out of them. So 27 MOA out of that guy. The scope itself will do 80 total, so 40 up, 40 down. Pop it 27 down, and I should be able to get pretty close to pretty far with this thing.
Yeah, you should actually.
Yeah. I was thinking about like, should I add a rail to it as well? And I don't think I should, because 27 MOA, I get 40 max. That gives me 13. I think that's close enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be shooting a CRPS.
I
can't. Yeah. I don't know why I keep wanting to say it backwards.
Yeah, I'll be shooting a CRPS match, and really like a buddy of mine. Just like we're both doing the same thing, and he got a whole schwack of like 22 targets.
Okay.
So we're gonna we're gonna shoot the match, but I've watched enough of these videos. I can do one of these, and I've got the land. Like I've got my parents' acreage that has enough space. Oh, practice. We could put on like basically a full match, just the two of us. And it's not even that hard.
Yeah.
We just put those targets at a variety of distances, grab ourselves a ladder or a wheelbarrow or whatever random like farm object we want to shoot off of.
If you go on the CRPS Facebook page, there's some in the file section, there's some barricade things that plans that you can build as well.
Totally.
Things. Yeah. You can get one of those little tight cars. That's a big one. That's the tactical vehicle that you have to practice on.
Or a car.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's Alberta.
Shoot off of an old farm car, just sitting out in the field there, or a tractor. Yeah, got to practice off the tractor. And then I wrote an article on. So this is like a specific response. I have seen this argument a couple of times on a couple of different articles where people comment in saying that, oh well, it's an absolute statement. Handguns are only designed to kill, and all of them. That's the only thing they're designed for. And I kind of take exception at that, because it's an absolute comment. People would use it as like a mic drop moment. They'd be like, all handguns are only designed to kill. Boom, mic drop. There you go. They're all of these things. That's the only thing they're good for is murdering everyone. And boy, like not only like talk
I
about
don't-
so many defective products, because none of
Yeah.
mine have done that.
I was just gonna say, I don't know. I haven't murdered anybody lately. Have you?
Not that I can
Okay, maybe we
remember.
shouldn't talk
Not that I
about
can
this.
remember.
Yeah.
That's the part. That's the piece that your lawyer will tell you need to say. Not that
Yes.
you remember. Yeah.
I refuse to talk about this in case
yeah.
it might incriminate me. All right. Let's not talk about it then.
So anyways, that's the reason why I wrote it. Was I think it's a really bad argument. I wanted an article that just countered this one specific bad argument. I was not writing an article that was general purpose on why we should even have handguns in Canada. I was writing something that was combating one lazy argument. And a lot of people commented on my article saying that they thought that I should have talked about this or that or the other thing, but really they were expecting a general purpose article, whereas I was like, really, I wanted to be able to do a reverse mic drop on the people who said all handguns are only designed for murder. Well, mic drop. Here's my article. Check out this competition handgun. Check out this Olympics handgun. Is this designed to kill? No, it's this. This is an Olympics handgun. It's designed for the Olympics. Purely, that is the thing that's designed. Yeah, you can use it to kill someone. You can use a meat cleaver to kill someone too. Doesn't mean that's the only thing it's designed for, right?
Right.
Some people still don't get that. I've got a couple people commenting on that article that are.
I think it was great. I think you posted it on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
yeah. Should read it, share it on their own page.
Times. Yeah, again, it's not a general purpose article. This is not. It is not the article that talks about in use. It's not talking about. It's purely on the design argument only, and it isn't. It isn't even like some handguns. It's all handguns. It's only designed to argue against that point. Because if you were to say, a Glock 17 is designed to kill, it's like, well, mostly, yeah.
I'm gonna say
it's a military handgun. You
got your Shadow over here, and you got your Glock 17, which is more like. Never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, even the Shadow is a CZ75, which is a military handgun, but this is not a military handgun. This is a competition handgun. It's heavy as crap. This is not like a fantastic murder weapon, right? And therefore, like the designed only for, this one doesn't really fit into it. Whereas the other ones, arguably, yeah. I mean, just like a hardwood bow is, that's its original purpose. Or a samurai sword. Mm-hmm. Yeah, designed to kill. Or, it's not what we use it for anymore.
No. Or the Oak Island sword. No.
The Oak Islands. that is designed just to kill, but also to collect.
Or fool people. Sorry.
Yes, cause intrigue. I think it's original, isn't it?
Hey, did you hear there was in Hamilton areas? There was this week. There was a guy that was shot with an arrow and he died.
I did. Yeah.
Did
they find the guy yet?
No, not yet. It was a drive-by arrowing. I don't know. They're still investigating. Yeah. We were just talking about arrows, shiny.
Well, I was mentioning in the article, like, well, yeah, my bow will do 20 meters easy, and someone was saying, well, a handgun's easier than a bow. I disagree. I think man-sized target, compound bow versus handgun. I would say that most beginner users cannot hit that target with a handgun at 40 meters, a man-sized one. But they could do so with a compound bow with less instruction, I would say.
Well, it's
anyways.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's my perspective. Anyways, what about you?
I did a few things. I just want to let everybody know about the CCFR calendar. I talk about it every week, but it is my baby, so I want to talk about it. It is almost sold out. There's only a couple left in the CCFR online store. Literally only a couple left. And also there's another draw next week. So order it now if you haven't gotten one so you can take part in the draw that's next week. We have all kinds of different things. We have firearms.
Order now. Supplies are limited.
And poor Adriel. Yes. Supplies are running out. Poor Adriel, you didn't win last week.
They made a mistake last week.
I know.
They picked the wrong number. Wasn't mine.
Maybe you will. I don't know. But
soon, I noticed how many people were in there. I still have a chance. I got a good chance I'm going to win something else.
There's only about half the people that have calendars that have registered them. I don't know why people aren't registering them. Like,
they don't know.
There's some really, really good prizes. Great sponsors, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for stepping up. Some of them are listeners of the show. I also wanted to talk about, SFRC. I did get a chance to go and see them. It was super cold here last weekend. It was that whole polar vortex thing again. But I got a chance to go and see Marcy and Ryan at SFRC. I wanted to thank them as well, because right now they're the sponsor of the month for the Maple Seed Challenge targets. So that's my segue into go to Maple Seed, download the target for this week or this month, and go and shoot it, and then you'll win a prize pack from SFRC. So what else happened? Oh, I met up with Tracy Wilson, and we went, and there was actually a couple of other field officers as well. We attended a town hall meeting that was in Port Hope. It was a conservative candidate, Grant Dingwall. He was having a meeting with firearms owners that are in the community of Port Hope, and he just wanted to chat about some of the things that have been happening recently with C-71, as well as with Bill Blair's handgun ban going out to the communities. He wanted to talk about that, get his constituents, or not really. He's not elected yet. They're holding the conservative candidate elections in March, but he just wanted to get basically the people in Port Hope's views on those subjects. So he asked Tracy to come out and speak at it, and I decided to go and drive the couple hours that it took to get there, and it was great. Got to meet a whole bunch of different people. Got some new CCFR members out of it. I handed out High Capacity magazine, which, by the way, is awesome. You'll notice that there's some quotes from some people that are podcasters.
You handed out High Capacity magazines at a public event?
The magazine, not the actual magazines, but yeah.
It is very confusing.
I know. It is kind of confusing. It's an awesome magazine, by the way. I also now have my subscription to it as well. And if you go on right now and go to highcapacitymagazine.ca, I think it's CA, and you pay, it's like $20 right now. It's half price. You'll also get a free t-shirt out of it too. So hopefully that's coming to me soon.
I just re-upped my CCFR membership, and I opted for the magazine as well.
Awesome. That's great. What else? Oh, we were kind of talking about it before we started, but did you know that Project Maple Seed was featured on the CCFR's Canada Downrange this week?
I did.
Yeah, awesome. So everybody check out, it's on Wild TV. If you don't have cable, which I don't, you can go to myhuntingfix.com, I think it is, and you can download the CCFR's Canada Downrange, and you can check out all of the episodes so far. There's been 3 or 4? 3. And this week's episode is called The Making of a Marksman. And it was, they filmed the episode while one of our instructors was out west at the Mission BC range. So you'll see Rick Kettebeck on there, who's one of our director's instructors. And you'll see some other people who maybe you're familiar with. There's, I don't know, who else? There's some listeners on there that I know. So check it out. It's awesome. I didn't get shooting because it was so cold, but I did get out to SFRC, and I attended some town hall meetings and, things like that. So
it's been like -20, -20. No, not -20, -25, to -30 here the whole time.
Yeah.
I got out shooting.
Okay. I'm not used to it. I'm like,
it was indoors. It's no way I'm going outside in I might go this weekend, and it's still -25, -28.
-25 with wind chills. It was like -40 here, so we're not used to that. We're used to
electric clothes, chemical heater packs. Just get that whole thing going.
Yeah. Okay, or just how about sit inside and keep warm until spring comes?
Dry fire.
Yeah, we can dry fire, which will help with IPSC, which will help with Maple Seed, which will help with PRS. We're going to talk about that in the main topic as well. Okay. Upcoming events. Do you want to talk about 3-gun?
I've added a whole pile of. I've just continued to add them on. There's some that I need to edit this week. I think there's a couple events that I'm just waiting on like updated schedules for. Like keep in mind if there's a tentative schedule out there, I add it because that's better than nothing. And so there's a couple of tentative schedules that I think are getting rejigged. So I'll be changing those around. I know that Prairie Fire was. I think it was up in the air. It just wasn't confirmed. Now it's confirmed, so that one's for sure confirmed now.
Is that at Saskatoon as well?
Say again.
Is that going to be at Saskatoon again?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Prairie Fire is Saskatchewan. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
always going to be there. Whereas
beautiful range.
There's a 2-day match that's going to happen. I think the BC one's going to be in Lone Butte this year.
Okay.
And then in Alberta, we're going to have a whole smorgasbord of 2-day matches. Yeah, lots of them.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yep.
For those of you who are waiting anxiously for Maple Seed events, we are in negotiations with some ranges across the country. We're trying to fill out Western Canada first, as well as Eastern Canada, and then we'll build the rest of the events around that. So stay tuned. We'll be releasing some of the events soon. It's awesome. I'm so excited about it.
You guys should do a release event so that it's like, nope, sorry, you have to wait for the release event. We don't tell anyone about our schedule until the release event.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. PR around it. Huh?
Yeah.
No?
Does it mean we get free guns and ammo?
It means that you don't have to put out the schedule and you can just tell people that they're to wait until the date whenever they ask.
No, then no. I would like to sell out events. It's easier to do it if we let people know.
You guys sell them all out.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we talk about news? What is this? What is this you put in here?
3-Gun Nation has a VR game they're putting out.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why you would play this. I love playing video games, but usually it's like, okay, I'm going to play video games and it's going to be World War I or World War II with Battlefield, or it's going to be War Thunder. I'm going to be driving some tanks around or something like that. Why would I play a VR game that simulates shooting a match when I can just shoot a match?
Yeah, but what if you can't shoot a match because there's nothing around and it's
then,
like
play the video game where I'm like
40 degrees
shooting Nazis in Germany or something like that. That sounds way better than shooting a metal plate on a VR game.
Okay.
That's my thoughts anyways. But it's cool that it's out. Maybe some people will use it as like training or something like that.
I think you'd be all over that like a dirty shirt. Fat kid on a Smartie.
Nah, I want my video games like fantasy and immersive and not reality.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
All right. I did put this in. I know we've been talking about it quite a bit. It's the Canadian Doctors group that are hoping for a gun ban. So basically, the gun blog put out an article on this new group that is on Facebook. They've actually just been invited as well to speak before the handgun, the Senate on the hand. Is it Senate? No. I don't know. They've been invited to talk to Parliament about banning handguns. And what do you think about
that? What makes them qualified to talk about that?
Well, they're emergency room doctors. That makes them qualified, doesn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I've crashed a car. Does that make me an expert in car manufacturing? Car law?
Well, kind of. You drove it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're witnesses of violence, right?
Yeah, they are.
Now, I mean, if there is a doctor who has treated hundreds of gunshot wounds just themselves, I think they would know something about terminal ballistics. I think they would know something there. But then why would they be banning handguns? Because handguns are far less lethal compared with rifles or shotguns.
That's true.
Like
Or apparently
one of the studies that I was
arrows.
say again.
I said, or apparently arrows. I'm just
Yeah, arrows too.
all
I,
right.
wa- I was doing a bit of research and I found one study that said that rifles and shotguns, when hit in the torso or head, are 3 times more
Deadly.
lethal
Yeah.
than a handgun.
Yeah.
So why are they banning handgun? Like, is this?
Well-
It's not on lethality is something that they would be experts in. If
Right.
they're one of these emergency room doctors who's had to treat hundreds of, and I don't think any of
No,
them exist in
they
Canada.
They haven't had to treat hundreds and thousands of.
So they don't have any statistical significance on it, and they're asking to ban the thing that is least likely to cause a lethal wound.
Correct.
Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
You know what? I can empathize with the fact that they're treating people who have been shot with guns. Correct? Nobody wants to see that, but they have.
But they're like the
wrong
wrong line of work to get into.
Right.
If you don't want to see people hurt or dying, I mean, that's what doctors do.
Drywaller? I don't know.
Yeah.
We
Kindergarten
know
teacher or something. I mean, there's
lots
of jobs that are.
Too.
It's horrible too. Yeah, you get your own taste of taste. Maybe that's a poor word, but of feces and excrement in in kindergarten compared to being a doctor. You get it too, but probably worse in kindergarten, right?
Doctors don't have to deal with that. It's the nurses that do.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they're just they're.
So I can't really empathize with like the treating of it because
they knew what they were getting into.
And that's their job is to handle people who are having emergencies, right? So I would assume that they may see something quite often that isn't actually like a frequent occurrence in society. I would say like handgun murders are a good example of that. We have about 100 handgun murders a year-ish. That's not a lot when you consider that there are 1 million restricted firearms owners. So I guess like if you're in a job where you're just exposed to these, geez, I mean, as a doctor, how many of these would you even see a year? Less than 5. Less than 5 is what you would see.
You'd
maybe
see
more wounds.
I was going to say you could see more people who had effects of drunk driving, right?
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, like driving is an acceptable thing in our society that everyone needs to. Well, not everyone. Most people need to do. Drinking and driving, no. There's no real excuse for that. Yeah, you know, it's an odd thing to crusade on, and I think that when you see a group like that crusading on something like that, I don't think because it doesn't pass like a sniff test of like why they would be doing it. You can only assume that they're doing it because of personal beliefs. Yeah,
I believe so as well. I do know a few emergency room doctors who are gunnies as well, so I'm hoping that they'll be invited as well.
I can't imagine they would be because this seems like a political play.
It does.
Yeah,
it doesn't meet an agenda. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like find a school teacher who's against guns and make like a school teachers against guns thing.
I thought there is.
Makes as much sense. Yeah, like there's no expertise there. They're not experts in the valid uses. Like that's the thing I guess I could say about the doctors is that some of them may see a couple of handgun murders per year. Which they might say like, hey, we got to stop this, but they wouldn't see the million Canadians with restricted firearms licenses who are getting value out of this, right? They would just see that they would just be exposed to the very rare negative cases, and they would never see the extremely large amount of people who are just having fun shooting handguns in competitions and not murdering each other.
Maybe they should invite you because you just wrote an article about it with handguns.
Yeah,
you're more of an expert. You use them, and you've never murdered anyone.
Not yet, and not that I know of. Come on, keep it accurate. No, I'm not going to murder anyone with my handguns.
Okay.
That would be silly.
All right. Why don't we talk about new gun stuff? You put in here. What did you put in here?
Oh yeah, the ATRS Modern Sporters are starting to be delivered and completed. So previously
Sweet.
there was just the lowers that had gotten out, and I've seen a couple of Facebook posts, and there's an ATRS Modern Sporter Facebook group, and I can see that lots of people on there are starting to build their guns and complete their guns. So another non-restricted AR variant is out there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's exciting news.
You bet.
All right. Why don't we get into the main topic? And thanks again to Ryan and Jack for coming on. It was great to speak with you. Lots of great information from everybody. And one of the things that, as Jack and Ryan were leaving, they said, if you're interested, you don't even have to invest any money into PRS shooting. If you want to try it out, or if you want to actually go and check it out, volunteer at one of these matches, especially the ones at Meaford. That's how I got a little interested into it, or Rob Furlong. Just go an RO match. You'll learn lots and lots there, and you'll see the excitement around it and why it's so fun to shoot as well. So
I'm hoping that I can shoot this rimfire match and I can get squatted with some like super great shooter and just steal all the ideas and steal all the like techniques and all that kind of stuff off them. I hope it's not just me and a bunch of other people who don't know what they're doing, because then I won't learn anything from my first match.
Well, what you do is you don't shoot first and you learn off the first guy what not to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, ideally you never shoot first in the shooting order.
You rotate, but don't shoot first. Just learn. Okay.
I'll arrange it so when my name gets called, I'm in the bathroom or something like that.
That's good planning.
Yeah.
All right. Listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. It's a full service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, and cerakoting finishes, as well as wood finishing. Check out his online inventory of new and used guns, firearm accessories, optics, and more at dcgunsmith.ca. Or you can follow him on Facebook, and it's Armory, it's spelled the French way, DC Gunsmith. Why don't you actually... I'm just
looking at the YouTube comments just to see if
we forgot about that.
Yeah, if we're missing anything off of there. Shane was saying he regrets buying his Savage 10 FCP in 308. He regrets not getting it in 6 or 6.5. But the nice thing about the Savages is that you can get a pre-fit barrel in there and then spin one off and put another one on, right?
Yep.
So use and abuse your 308 barrel, or sell it brand new and then spin on a 6.5 or a 6 Creedmoor on there.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's see here. I think, okay, we answered that. Sorry, I'm just going through and making sure that we've answered all the questions. One person was saying that My Hunt Fix only has 4 episodes, and Wild TV is up to episode 6 or 7 now. Wild TV has an app, so if you're subscribed to Wild TV, they have an app, and you can just watch them all on there. One person was saying that the MREs have like the energy bars in them have like 300% of your daily recommended sugar intake. Never mind the rest of the pack. Sweet. That's energy.
Yeah.
Energy that you need.
I know the Canadian ones come with sugar gummies, and it's just like a cube.
And they have hard as rock jerky that you have to like suck on, and like it's basically like charcoal. They're so dehydrated.
Yeah, you can make soup out of it if you need to. It's survival.
If I want jerky, I want jerky. I don't want to make soup out of it just to make it edible.
It's not like these are gourmet meals.
Well, some of them are pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the poutine one. The poutine one is it's more like French fry soup than it is poutine. But some of the other stuff was fantastic. I'm hoping some of the stuff in here. I'm going to be looking for stuff in here that's not good. And I bet you there's going to be some stuff, but
okay. So if we have an American listener, send them the stuff that's not good so you can try it.
Down the hatch.
All right.
I think that's it for our YouTube questions. I think we've been answering them as we've been going along here. Yeah. We've been typing away and just making sure that we're engaging with people.
Okay. So listener feedback. Why don't we start off with Mike H? I'm going to read it because it's short. You get dusted.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Hi, Slamfire people. Love the show. This is, by the way, from Mike H. I was listening to Trevor talk about his brass cleaning and lubricating methods. I clean my brass in a wet tumbler and then also separate the pins in a wet separator. Then I rinse the soap off in a colander in the sink. I then shake the brass in the colander and dump it on a towel, then push the pile of brass around in the towel. After that, I dump the brass into a dry tumbler with dry media to dry the brass. I also have Flitz, is it Flitz polish or new finish car wax in the media. This coats the brass in a light wax and keeps it shiny, and also makes the 9mm run through the press nicer. So this is from Mike H. She's giving you some feedback on brass prepping.
Someone was telling me, oh, what did I hear about that? They were saying they throw a couple of drops of ballistol in the water as they was that Trevor saying that?
Maybe.
Yeah, so you don't need to, like, basically it just flies through the press kind of thing afterwards. It just gets this like little bit on there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Trevor saying that.
Okay, why don't you take the one from Dustin?
Hey guys, it's long. I'm sorry.
That's why
No, I don't mind the long one. Sometimes you need the length. You need the length to tell the story. I do want to start off sending you some love from the West Coast. Like you, we have not been immune to the Arctic vortex here in Vancouver. Oh, this is going to get snarky right away.
Yeah, it is.
The temperature has dipped below zero at night, and even during the day last weekend. Woo-hoo, oh no, zero. My most recent trip to the range was to shoot my maple seed targets. Was indeed a test of my willpower, as it was my first time to the range in a year that I could not just wear shorts. So it's been hard for us here too.
Yeah. I really
just wanted you guys to know that we are suffering in solidarity with all you in the East. Am I in the East? I guess. I'm east of Vancouver.
You're east of the Rockies. You're the East Coast.
Anyway, I'm writing with a legitimate question for a change. On my trip to shoot my maple seed targets for January, I decided, since I was bringing my 1022, that I might as well bring along one of my lesser used pistols, the GSG 1911. This is a gun I bought used pretty much exclusively for other people to shoot, as I get to take people across the spectrum to the range, from full-blown ammo-sexual to ammo-curious to the odd snowflake and everyone in between. I bought it, as you can imagine, for new shooters because it is light, has a smaller frame, so it's a bit more manageable for young people or with people with smaller hands. This frame is 1911 size, but I guess it's thin, right? It's smaller than a double stack gun, right? And has limited recoil versus any of my other pistols. The issue is the gun has accuracy issues. So it really hasn't been useful beyond just getting them comfortable pulling the trigger on a real gun, and I would pretty much have to move them up to something else right away, and so it bugs me. At 7 yards, it's shooting about 6 inches high, and it's shooting consistently. So if you aim 6 inches below your target, it will hit every time. My GSD does this too. And my fix is I'm getting the Dawson Precision sights for it.
Okay.
Hopefully that fixes the height over bore. And the other thing that I've heard of is there's an accurizing pack that you can get. I think I saw one at Select Shooting Supplies. Okay. There's an accurizing pack of stuff that you can get that comes with a new guide rod, new plug, and a couple of other goodies to kind of keep everything in better alignment.
Okay.
He continues, and Trevor, you've seen me shoot a little bit, enough to know that I'm no amazing shooter. I'm not someone completely ignorant of their own abilities who can't tell if it's him or the gun sights, in which this case, I'm pretty sure it's the gun. So my question, do any of you have any recommendations I might try before I take this thing to my tool bench? Because let's be honest, it's a $250 gun, and I have a Dremel. So one way or another, this problem is probably getting dealt with. Thanks for any insight that you might have. Your blue-haired friend, Dustin. P.S. Another quick shout-out and thank you to both Maple Seed and Matador Arms.
Okay. So he won last month's Maple Seed Challenge shoot. So he got a Matador Arms pack. In it, he got the extended make release. So it was awesome. Plus T-shirts and patches and things like that. So it was awesome. So you have the same problem. It was consistent. You were changing out the sights.
Mine are high too. It's not why I'm actually changing out the sights, because I don't like the sights it comes with. It comes with these 3-dot yellowish kind of crappy plastic ones, and I'm going to change them out for some like
Right. Well,
iron back and fiber optic front sights. If I was in his position, yeah, I might take a Dremel to that thing.
Well, he got a response from Trevor. Trevor's not on here, so I'll just sum up with what Trevor said. He said it also comes with three other sites, and the front sight is known for that. So just go, and he bought this used, so go and see if you can find the other sites and switch them out, see if it makes a difference. But if you're going to buy a new set of sights, maybe you should as well, if you can't find them anyways, or Dremel.
Or Dremel.
Or Dremel.
Get in there. Yeah. Get after it. Why not?
Okay. Thanks, Dustin, as well. Thanks for the shout out, by the way. This one's from Etienne, or ET as we like to call him. He says, "Hey guys, just a note to let you know that I've ordered the Heritage MFG Rough Rider single action 22 long rifle revolver. The one with the ugly brass grips. I did say brass, right? Anyway, I totally blame Adriel for enabling me, and the price from I Run Guns was pretty good to boot. Taxes and shipping include. This little lead slinger comes out, or taxes and shipping included. It should be included. This little lead slinger comes out at $250 Canadian. Not bad, and it is made as it's made in America, or America, as he said. He also included a link to the factory tour that YouTube put out. So maybe we'll put that in the show notes. And he says, "Cheers, ET."
Cool.
ET.
For Dustin, the package is the ZRTS GSG 1911-22 Ultimate Performance Package. Blue Line has them, and I believe Blue Line is somewhere out west, aka BC. And
he's in BC, so it should be next day shipping.
Out west, yeah. $95 comes with, let's see, full-length guide rod, alignment cone, bushing, spring, and plug. So the cone where it comes in there, it comes with a bushing that kind of cones it in there, so it should align that barrel perfectly every time when you use it. And it doesn't use the screw on the side, which apparently changes the point of impact every time you retorque it down.
Okay.
I might buy one.
Okay. Let us know how you like it.
But then, you realize between that $100 and the sights about $100,
the gun's $250.
It's getting pricey. Yeah. No, they're really $350. But maybe he got his a while ago.
I don't know. He said that he got it all taxes in.
Or you could get a Rough Rider single action 22 revolver for $250.
Okay.
That's another option. Maybe the sights are on for that one. Just buy one of those.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. If you would like to email the show, send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Obviously, we'll talk about guns. We'll talk about, Trevor. I don't know. Just let us know.
Stuff.
Yeah, stuff. All right. No reviews. So let's just move on to shoutouts. Did you got a shoutout?
Nope.
Awesome. I have one. I just wanted to say thank you to the CCFR for featuring us on CCFR Downrange. Exciting stuff to be part of the news. We're in everything.
Can I do Trevor's one?
Okay.
I'm gonna do Trevor's shout out. Trevor has a shout out to Jeremy Kane. Hope your dad gets well soon.
Yeah. Actually, let's see if we can get an update on that. I wonder how he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon supporters, we have 84 of them. We have new content as well. If you're a Patreon, you will hear from Gallon. We had him on last week. And we also have a new Patreon as well. Kyle W. Thanks for coming out and contributing.
And we've got patches and stickers.
Sweet.
So email us and tell us what your address is so we can get you some patches and stickers.
Right. Even if if you haven't received your patches and stickers at all, resend it to us just in case we don't have your address. So email the show.
Email us.
Yep, slamfireradio@gmail.com. That way, Adriel can get the kids to work in the sweatshop and get them out to you. So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do tonight. I got a whole stack of these prepaid envelopes. Yeah, I'm gonna do that tonight. So if you email the show and you're watching right now, you'll probably get it in the mail tomorrow or something.
Or something.
Or
next
something.
Week. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Please join one of our national firearms associations, such as the CCFR. Watch your Canada Downrange, because Maple Seed's on there. Also, check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. Like us on Facebook. I don't know where we are on Facebook because this isn't updated, but like us anyways. And yeah, that's it for tonight.
Later.
Good night, everybody.